Wedbush says spending on commercial EVs should top $1.2 trillion between now and 2030.
We're building the future of the electric vehicle.
Imagine a world where electric vehicles are everywhere and gas cars are history. How soon do you think this will happen? Tony Seba, a disruption expert, says it will happen by 2025. That's wild. How is this possible? Come, let's find out how EVs will shock you. A pair of famous photos of Manhattan in New York City shows how quickly transportation changed from horses to cars. The first photo has many carriages pulled by horses. The second photo, taken only 13 years later, has many cars instead. A century later, another change happened in technology. In 2007, Apple launched the iPhone, which started the smartphone era. In a few years, smartphones replaced non-smartphones. The companies that made non-smartphones before the iPhone, like Nokia, lost their market share. Tony Seba talks about how some markets have been disrupted by new technologies that are much better or cheaper than the old ones. He says that a market is ready for disruption when a new technology is 10 times better, or 1/10 of the price. He names the critical years when new technologies become popular in the market as the point of convergence. The point of convergence is when enough innovators with enough parts of a new idea join forces and decide to build a new system. The fast growth of new products at the beginning is called the J-curve, and the final trend of full adoption is called the S-curve. S-curve graphs show how quickly people switch to new technologies that offer much more value or lower cost than the old ones, changing the market in a short time. The internet has not only increased the time we spend on cute cat videos, but also made technology adoption faster. Before, we got information from mail, word of mouth, and newspapers. Now we use email, texting, and Facebook for news, which has its drawbacks. New technologies, ideas, and products reach customers much quicker than before. Some products even launch before they are fully developed through platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo. This means that people discover, adopt, and use new tech sooner than they used to. Tony Seba also mentioned EV batteries. Energy storage is the key to the transformation of the electric vehicle market and the renewable energy sector. Today, most of the energy storage comes from different types of lithium-based batteries. These batteries are being produced at a much faster rate than anyone predicted, leading to much lower prices than most forecasts expected. Current forecasts say that there will be 20 mega factories for lithium-ion batteries by 2021, which is 6 times more than what was estimated a few years ago. Think about that. A few years ago, experts who studied battery production forecasts thought there would be only 3 or 4 mega factories for batteries in 2021, but now they think there will be about 20. According to Nomura Research, the global battery production capacity will grow by the same amount as the total capacity in 2016 every year until at least 2022. Things are changing. Mainstream analysts are beginning to realize how batteries will change the way we use energy in our homes, businesses, and streets, not only in the future, but also today. Tony said that 25% of US businesses could save money today if they used batteries for their energy needs, not with solar panels, but just batteries. This situation will only get better as the global battery production capacity increases, and R&D makes them store more energy in a smaller space. The demand for batteries will increase a lot as electric vehicles and energy storage systems become more popular in the future. Different factors, such as electricity costs, utility rules, gas prices, and government support, will affect how these two technologies grow in different markets. But both of them are on the rise. Tony says that EVs are better than the old ones that use gas or diesel. He says that most people don't understand this. He says that EVs are not just an alternative, they are an improvement. He says that people will switch to EVs not because they care about the environment, but because they want to save money. He says that the electric motor can use the energy in the battery more effectively than the old one. This means that electric motors need much less fuel than the old ones. Does this sound familiar? Many EVs can go more than 200 miles with one charge and cost around $35,000. This makes them affordable for most people in rich countries. He says that EVs are also cheaper to run and keep. They don't need much repair, and they last longer. He gives an example of a company that uses EVs to transport people. The company says that the only thing they have to change often is the tires. Electric vehicles save money for people and businesses. Most EVs can go 500,000 miles before they need to be replaced. Tesla, which is always innovating, aims to make its vehicles last 1 million miles. This is much longer than the old cars that use gas or diesel, which only last about 140,000 miles. Tesla's goal is to make its vehicles last 7 times longer than the old ones. This means that people can buy an EV that costs 4 to 7 times more than an old car and still not lose money. They would have to buy many old cars to match the lifespan of one EV. Of course, most people will just buy an EV that costs the same as an old car and enjoy the savings over time. Another way to look at this is that Tesla wants to make a car that can last 100 years for the average driver in the US, who drives 10,000 miles per year. This means that one car could serve several generations of drivers, but most people will not keep a car for that long or drive that much. That is another topic for later. This information would be easy to understand if EVs and ICE vehicles were similar, but they are not. There are many reasons for this. One of them is that electric vehicles are much stronger when they start, meaning they can accelerate faster than ICE vehicles. This makes driving more fun, especially in the city where there are many stops and starts. Tony thinks that this is a big difference that customers will notice and like. He says, "Soon, you will get a car that is as fast as a Porsche, but as cheap as a Buick." He also makes a bold prediction. By 2025, every new car sold will be electric. The Model 3 launch supported Tony's claims, as many people paid $1,000 to reserve Tesla's $35,000 electric car with more than 200 miles of range in 2015. Now, there are more options in this price range, and more are coming. EVs seem to be the obvious choice. Tony ended his talk by showing a vision of the future that is hard to imagine for most people. A future where humans have given up driving to the artificial intelligence, AI, in the car, also called fully autonomous driving. He thinks that fully autonomous driving will change the world more than electric vehicles. He said confidently, as he usually does, that the first company to make a car that can drive itself anywhere will dominate and shape the market. The first car that can legally drive itself on any road will be able to replace all kinds of drivers, such as taxi drivers, Uberlift drivers, truck drivers, bus drivers, and many others. This will make it much cheaper to travel on public transport, to ship goods, to use a service that gives rides, to go to the airport. It will change everything about how people travel very quickly. Of course, the companies need to show that they can make enough cars, but the switch to fully autonomous driving, also called Level 5 autonomous driving, will have the biggest impact on mobility since the car that uses gas or diesel. Tony Seba also focuses on Level 5 autonomy. It not only saves money but also gives mobility to those who can't drive for some reason. High schoolers won't have to wait to get a license because humans won't be allowed to drive anymore. The DMV won't control who can drive, regardless of age. Eyesight, disabilities, and health issues, they won't matter. The robotaxi will be there whenever you need it. Fully autonomous driving has many benefits that are deep and wide. Tony says that new technologies that are 10 times better or cheaper always change the market. He thinks that by 2030, most of the miles traveled by cars will be done by self-driving vehicles that people can order when they need them. That's only 12 years away, and many of us will have more wrinkles by then. He also predicts that in 2030, only 40% of the cars will belong to individuals, and the rest will be part of a service that will offer cheap rides at any time of the day or night. Tony Seba reveals how EVs will change the world faster than you think. But what will happen to the old cars, the oil industry, and the drivers? And who will be the winner of this disruption? Comment your thoughts on Tony Seba's theory of disruption, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.